What is up, everybody? Thank you for clicking on the video. Today, we're going to talk about 6 players that your dumb league mates won't draft in Dynasty startups that you absolutely should draft. These are all running backs. So without further ado, let's get into the video. But before we do, don't forget to click the like button, subscribe to the channel. We are growing at an impressive rate, and I'm very thankful for all of you who have clicked the subscribe button, who are liking the videos, who are engaged with our content. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So without further ado, let's get into the video. The first player that your dumb league mates won't draft in Dynasty is DeAndre Swift. And I have to admit, I've wavered on DeAndre Swift in the past, but to be honest, we have enough data now that this should be a no-brainer selection in both redraft and Dynasty. First of all, Swift is a pass-catching running back that has finished lower than the RB15 in fantasy points per game just one time. That would be last season with the Eagles. In 2023, Swift saw a career low in receptions and targets. In fact, Swift ranked number 22 amongst running backs in targets last season. Before 2023, Swift's lowest finish in targets in a single season was number 13 amongst running backs, 57 targets in his rookie season, and he missed 3 games. Now, Swift is playing for the Chicago Bears after he signed a 3-year, $24 million contract with $15.3 million guaranteed. So Swift figures to be heavily involved in the Bears offense that looks to shape their offense around the pass with DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Cole Kmet, Rome Odunze, and their number 1 draft pick at quarterback, Caleb Williams, of course, the linchpin that's going to hold it all together. And last season, the Bears averaged 30.2 pass attempts per game. That ranked number 28 overall. It's going to be very hard to imagine the Bears rank in the bottom half of the league in pass attempts, because this is where their strength is going to be. The Bears are telling you, hey, we're going to sign a pass catching running back because we are going to build our offense around the pass. There should be plenty of targets in this offense for Swift to be a very productive player for fantasy football in 2024. Swift is currently ranked as the RB17 and the player number 97 in Keep Trade Cuts Dynasty Superflex rankings. In terms of rookie picks, that would be a 2024 early second round pick. In terms of players, Trey Benson and Joe Mixon are RB16 and RB18 respectively in Keep Trade Cuts rankings. Mixon is 2 years older than Swift and in a similar situation in a good offense where we like him to be very productive. Trey Benson is a rookie and technically still the backup to James Conner for now. Drafting Swift gives Dynasty gamers a win now and a win later flexibility to where you can build whatever kind of team that you want to build in that Dynasty startup. And he's going to be a good asset in that ascending Chicago Bears offense. Player number 2 that your idiot league mates won't draft is Rachaad White. And I'm honestly not sure why Dynasty gamers are so skeptical when it comes to Rachaad White. Let's put White's 2023 season into perspective for a moment. He finished as the RB4 overall and the RB10 in fantasy points per game. And while yes, his true yards per carry metric ranks him as the RB57 amongst running backs, 3.5 true yards per carry, White makes up for it by being efficient as a pass catcher. White ranks number 13 in yards per route run amongst running backs, number 5 in yards per reception, number 6 in evaded tackles. White is the new age running back. He's the guy that your league mates haven't adjusted to yet. Pass catching running backs are not only what we want in fantasy football, but as the league becomes more and more and more of a passing league, which it has every single year, players like White will become, for lack of a better phrase, the new normal. And I just kind of vomited in my mouth by saying that phrase. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers also gave White one of the bigger ringing endorsements in the NFL draft and free agency. The only running back of note that Buccaneers added was Bucky Irving on day 3 in round 4. The team spent a round 3 pick on Rachaad White, and his talent profile is far superior to the aforementioned Irving. Additionally, the Buccaneers spent their first round selection on center Graham Barton. This should help out the Bucs offense as a whole. And while Dave Canales is now the head coach in Carolina, the Buccaneers have relatively the same offensive personnel and to figure to use Rachaad White in a very similar way this season. The general public is fading Rachaad White. Currently, he's ranked as the RB14 and the number 80 player in Keep Trade Cuts rankings. He's also the same age as DeAndre Swift with more NFL tread on the tires. This gives Dynasty gamers, just like with DeAndre Swift, win now and win later flexibility when you're building these rosters. According to Keep Trade Cut, Deebo Samuel is ranked just ahead of Rachaad White. If a Dynasty gamer is in need of a solid RB for their playoff run, that is a deal that I make every single day of the week. Let's talk about J.K. Dobbins and why you absolutely need to consider drafting him this year in Dynasty startups. And I get it. Dobbins is a player that has 2 torn ACLs on his record and is coming off a torn Achilles. I'll admit that the prospects of Dobbins coming off of an injury and producing at a high level are not great. But if there were any situation where he might succeed, it would be the one that he's in with the Chargers. Dobbins was in Baltimore with the new Chargers offensive coordinator, Greg Roman, and the Chargers clearly feel there's some juice left in the tank. Currently, Gus Edwards and Kamani Vidal, who was drafted in round 6 at pick number 181, are the 2 running backs Dobbins will be competing with in the Chargers backfield. An argument can be made that if Dobbins is healthy, and that's a big if, he is the most talented of the group. According to Dobbins himself, he is 100% ready. According to an article written by Bleacher Report's Zach Bacar on April 29th, 2024, Dobbins talked about his recovery. Quote, he says, "I'm 100% now. It was like a walk in the park. It was like a sprained ankle. It was very easy because I had a knee injury. The knee was pretty hard. The Achilles was, I would say, easy just because that's my mentality. It was pretty easy to me. That's my mentality." As of right now, Dobbins is ranked outside of the top 200 in Keep Trade Cuts Dynasty Superflex rankings. At that price, the fade has gone too far. There's a world where Dobbins leads this backfield in total touches. He may not have the upside he once had, but we don't need him to have that kind of upside at the price that he's currently being drafted at. It's also possible to roster multiple Chargers running backs, which I would advise doing. It's possible, in fact, to have all 3 of these players on your Dynasty team and let the chips fall where they may and let whoever wins the battle. You end up with the Chargers running back. It's not the worst advice in the world. Antonio Gibson is up next, and it's death, it's taxes, and it's me spouting Antonio Gibson rhetoric. There is value in players that other fantasy gamers and Dynasty gamers are sick of or have been burnt by in the past, and Gibson is clearly one of those players. I will count myself amongst those that have been burned, but I have mostly held on because I believe in the talent profile. Now the situation for Gibson might match up with the opportunity that's in front of him in a newly revamped Patriots offense. The Patriots depth chart at running back figures to feature Ramondre Stevenson, with Antonio Gibson and Kevin Harris being the RB2 and RB3s respectively. However, there's a real chance that Gibson wins the job outright. There are a few reasons for this. The first reason is the talent profile. Both Stevenson and Gibson are similar in size, with Stevenson standing at 5'11", 231 pounds, and Gibson is 6 foot tall, 228 pounds. The big difference is Gibson is way faster. He ran a 4.39 40-yard dash, while Stevenson runs a 4.69 40-yard dash. There's no question Gibson is the more explosive playmaker, and the Patriots figured to be in a lot of negative game script situations because they're not that good of a team. So that means a lot of check downs to running backs, and who's the most equipped running back to handle those check downs on 3rd down situations, comeback situations? That would be Antonio Gibson. In 2023, Gibson ranked number 2 in yards created per touch, number 16 in targets amongst running backs, despite just playing on 44.8% of snaps because of the Brian Robinson factor. In comparison, Stevenson ranked number 38 amongst running backs in yards created per touch and number 21 amongst running backs in targets, despite playing on 63.2% of the snaps. That was number 11 amongst running backs in total snap share. Currently, Stevenson is ranked as the RB27, player number 127 overall, and Gibson is ranked as the RB57, player number 218 overall in Keep Trade Cuts Dynasty Superflex rankings. Give me the player that is cheaper and also has the most upside in New England. We are not just going to give you running backs that are in the top 50. Yeah, go draft Bijan Robinson, go draft Breece Hall. Great advice. Yeah, I think, you know, Christian McCaffrey's really good and a good dynasty. Nope, you're getting a deep dive. You're getting the players that your league mates won't pay attention to and won't draft. And one of those players is Evan Hull. Evan Hull was a player to stash in Dynasty a year ago, and now he looks to be a locked and loaded key figure in the Colts backfield with Jonathan Taylor leading the way. I understand this probably isn't a sexy player to talk about, but this is absolutely the kind of late round pick in a Dynasty startup that can pay some real dividends down the road, maybe even this year. Hull is a former 5th round pick by the Colts in 2023, who only played in one game due to a torn meniscus. Hull suffered the injury very early in the season, week 1 in fact. Therefore, he should be fully healthy for the start of the NFL season. It's also telling that the Colts decided against adding running backs to the room to compete with Hull in the NFL draft or in free agency. Currently, Tyler Goodson and Trey Sermon project to be competing with Hull for touches at the RB2 spot, and while this could be a rotation of players, Hull has the requisite skill set to thrive in this offense as the RB2. He's big enough. He's 5'10", 209 pounds. He's fast enough. He runs a 4.47 40-yard dash, and he showed that he had the ability to catch the ball out of the backfield in college. In his final season at Northwestern, Hull caught 55 passes for 546 yards, averaging almost 10 yards per reception. Hull is currently ranked as the RB71 on Keep Trade Cut and player number 272. I can't believe that number actually just came out of my mouth. In their rankings. That is outrageous. There might even be a chance that he's on the waiver wire in some dynasty leagues, and if he is, you got to go grab him right now. The final player we're going to talk about today in the Tennessee Titans backfield is Tyjae Spears. The Tennessee Titans said goodbye to longtime running back Derrick Henry this offseason and said hello to Tony Pollard by way of free agency. Tony Pollard signed a 3-year, $21.75 million contract this offseason with $10.49 million guaranteed according to Spot Tracks. The problem for Tony Pollard is going to be the fact that Tyjae Spears proved he was the more efficient player for the entire season last year and the more effective player for the Tennessee Titans given their situation. In fact, Spears thrived as a backup behind a far superior running back in Derrick Henry. Last season, Spears ranked number 9 in targets amongst running backs, despite playing on just 52.9% of the snaps. Spears also ranked highly in a number of other metrics, including yards created per touch, number 5 amongst running backs, yards per route run, number 11 amongst running backs, breakaway run rate, number 5 amongst running backs, juke rate, number 4 amongst running backs. By comparison, Tony Pollard ranked number 11 amongst running backs in targets despite playing a full-time role. Pollard ranked number 7 amongst running backs in snap share at 70.9%. Pollard was also less efficient as a running back last season. In 2023, Pollard ranked number 37 in yards created per touch, number 34 in yards per route run, number 25 in breakaway run rate, and number 38 in juke rate amongst running backs. Currently, Tony Pollard is ranked as the RB30 and player number 130 in Keep Trade Cuts Dynasty rankings. Tyjae Spears is ranked as the RB24 and player number 117 in Keep Trade Cuts rankings. But the problem is Pollard is 27 years old and Spears is not even 23 years old yet. And I get it. Spears has the knee issue. It's like a ticking time bomb. It's the same issue that Todd Gurley dealt with. However, Spears should be ranked higher as he proved to be far more efficient and he's younger in this offense. And it's my suspicion that these two rankings will slowly drift further apart as the offseason progresses. And the truth is, Spears is the younger player, far more upside than Pollard at this stage of his career, and he should absolutely be ranked ahead of Pollard in Dynasty by more than 13 spots. Thank you so much for clicking on the video and watching all the way to the end. Don't forget to click the like button, subscribe to the channel. Until next time, be good, everybody, and we will see you later.